Hey, welcome back. Kyle Russ here. In this video, I'm going to show you how you could possibly 10x your wave count really quickly with a strategy that you use while you're in the lineup. Now, this strategy is a combination of skill, fitness, and then some planning. So I should have made this video a long time ago because it's something that I've known for a while, but it really stood out to me recently when I was surfing at a spot out here. There's a beach break where it's got like a main peak, but the peak kind of moves. So it's like sometimes left, sometimes right, sometimes both, sometimes here, sometimes there, but it's like in a general area. And I got up there and there's like 10 people all sitting at the peak waiting for the main set waves. And there was like 90% of the waves were going unridden, like the medium waves. They're just off a little bit. They were over it, so the waves are coming under them. So I was getting all the waves sitting inside a little bit. So that's the secret. Instead of sitting out the back, waiting for the set waves, if it's crowded, especially sit inside a little bit, and you can get the waves that go unridden, that come under people, the ones that they miss. So this requires a certain kind of fitness. You have to have a great duck dive, because when the sets do come through, you gotta be under them to stay in position. But if you have a great duck dive, those bigger sets can be a non-issue. If you can get under them easily, you're still sitting in the same spot, waves gone, easy. But then you have to have better paddle strength, because also you're paddling to avoid things. You have to change position a little bit more. So you gotta have that. You also have to have a really fast recovery. So if you're duck diving, like, so let's say you have a 5 wave set comes through, you gotta duck dive 5 times, and then you gotta paddle, you gotta have really, really great recovery. Those things combined should easily give you way more waves, especially at crowded lineups, beach breaks where the peak is moving a bit. And it's a really, really good strategy that the best surfers use. So I'll show you exactly what you need, how to do it right now. All right, step 1 of this strategy is you gotta get a really good duck dive. In order to duck dive, you gotta have a smaller and smaller board. Now, a turtle roll is a great technique and it works great when you do it correctly, but it takes almost double or more the energy to do it because you're constantly climbing back onto your board. It takes so much energy. And it's easy to mess up a turtle roll on a big wave because you don't get under it far enough and it rips the board away from you, and that takes like 10 times more energy. So if that happens, you're really messed. So it's so common that they try to progress down to a board size way faster than they should. The fastest ways to accelerate that are paddle training, because the less foam, you need way more paddle strength. The next things are balance, positioning, and certain skills and pop-up on a shorter board. Those can all be accelerated with training. I won't cover that here because I've made lots of videos about the paddle and the pop-up. You can find those easily. But so as we're moving down, this is what would be considered a mid-length. If you're a longboarder now, 8, 9, 10 foot board, this one's 7'6". I used to keep it at my parents' house, and when I'd visit them and there was waves, I would just have it there. There were a couple of times where it was the only board I had and it was massive overhead waves. I surfed it over 10 foot waves, 12, it's hard to judge exactly, and so I can duck dive this. One thing, if you are going to a mid-length, to duck dive, you can turn it sideways, like knife it down to get the nose down and then push the bottom down, and then you can duck dive these. But again, that takes way more energy than duck diving a smaller board. So that's possible if you're doing that. But if you want to make a bigger leap, you just got to train harder to get better paddle strength faster. This one's 6'3", 6'4", I think, 6'3". Much easier. So from 7 to 6 to 6'3", the difference is massive. Volume matters a bit because you could have a 6'3" that has more volume, but still, the duck dive becomes a lot easier. I don't have my shorter board, it's a 5'9". My wife borrowed my truck and it's in there. Anyways, if you get down to that size, like a 5'9" that's shorter than you are and less volume, duck diving becomes so easy, so effortless. It's such an amazing feeling to go from a turtle roll where you're just like, you're spending tons of energy. If you have a really good duck dive, to just like slip under the wave and you don't even feel any of the energy push you back. It's like you go right through it, you pop up. It's like that took no energy. Then you're good. And so you need that to sit in the proper position to get those insider waves. Because if you have to duck dive proper, so you pop up in the same position. Because you're constantly getting back and you're constantly fighting, the strategy doesn't work as well. So the next step is to shorten the board, step 1. Step 2 is you got to build the muscles that create a great duck dive. Because if you mess up your duck dive, again, you could lose your board, then you're spending tons of energy. So I'm going to show you how to build the muscles and practice the technique that makes a perfect duck dive. So a good duck dive is 3 things. 1, you got to sink the nose. 2, you got to sink the tail. And 3 is timing. All matter a lot. So the first part, sinking the nose, is like a push-up, and it takes a lot of strength to get it deep. Now there's going to be a couple different scenarios. So 1, if you're duck diving under a wave that's just breaking or not quite broken, it takes almost 0 effort. You'll punch through easily. But sitting inside, you're gonna be getting a lot more white water. Set waves that have already broken. So the more white water there is, the deeper the turbulence goes underwater. So the deeper you gotta get. So I'll talk about timing and that will matter, but you gotta sink it more. So the first step is, so you can just lean forward and sit up on your board and you'll sink the nose. The nose will automatically start sinking because your weight is going from here to all right here. So you're leaning over it, so your nose will sink. And so once the nose starts to sink, your arms will start becoming underwater. Then what you wanna do is put your foot on the tail pad. Now I use your back foot. So the foot that your leash is attached to, So that way you're gonna stick your other foot in the air, your leash won't get involved. So it'll look like this. Sink in the nose, and then you get your foot ready, and then you sink the tail, boom, and you stick this foot up. So that counter swing will help you sink the tail more. So then that bottom of the board won't get hit by the turbulence, and you'll scoop underneath it. The final position is to get close to your board like this, and then that will help you pop up through the wave. Now, timing matters a ton. So if it's a small wave, an easy one to punch through, you can just quickly do it. So you can be paddling. As soon as the wave gets to you, you can, boom, do a quick one. But if it's a deep wave, you gotta really anticipate it. So you sink your nose a lot longer. So you can sit up like this, sinking the nose, and then as the wave gets to you, you take your breath in, and then boom. So that matters a ton. A lot harder to get it deeper, takes more energy, but it takes less energy than messing it up and having to climb back on your board. So if you lose your board, that takes energy. Doing a proper deep duck dive, barely energy compared to that. So the workout for this is practicing the movement patterns and building the muscles. So it's a push-up, it's a downward dog with one leg up, and then you scoop under, so it's like going under the fence. Then it's a push-up, scoop up, and then under. And remember, use your back foot so you practice the movement pattern properly, and it will become so easy. Right board, right technique, right timing, and you'll be able to get a perfect duck dive and sit inside almost effortlessly compared to turtle rolling or getting knocked off your board. All right, the final piece you need to use this strategy and effectively 10x your wave count or better. So you got the paddle strength, you're surfing longer sessions, you're getting your board size down, you got a great duck dive, you're sitting inside with less effort because you're easily getting under waves. The third thing is a fast recovery time. So instead of resting for minutes, you get your rest time down to seconds because you'll be changing position a lot more. So as a wave breaks, it goes left or right. And on a moving peak, and if you're catching the insiders, it'll be more spread out. The lefts will be farther over here and the rights will be farther over here, typically. So you have to move a lot, change position a lot more, but you're duck diving as well. You're holding your breath. So you gotta be able to pop up, recover quickly. So when those waves do come and you gotta change position, you're able to do so. You're not catching your breath all the time. Fast recovery is the most important skill you can have in any aspect of surfing, but particularly in this one, it's totally mandatory. So the way we do that is low oxygen training. I've made a ton of videos about it in the past, but simply put, it's restricting oxygen during exercise. So it's breath holding at certain times. What it does is forces your body to adapt to become more efficient with oxygen. Because let's say you're performing a workout that takes this much energy and you're breathing the whole time, that's what your body's used to. But if you're doing this much work, but you only have this much oxygen, your body suddenly can do that much work with this much oxygen. So it does more with less. And that's what makes your recovery times go down and down and down. And that's the ultimate feeling of power out there. Because if you're gonna sit inside, you're gonna be working harder. So having that is paramount. Again, all these things can be improved in training, which is great. So you can accelerate your process to be using this strategy and really up your wave count. Now, one of the coolest parts about using this strategy is how it will make you feel. So when you can be in a chaotic part of the lineup and be in control, be confident, your body does what you tell it to do, and your wave count goes up, well, first of all, catching more waves feels incredible. That boosts confidence, that boosts mood, it makes you feel like you belong there. But then when you perform the skills like the duck dive over and over reliably, and you realize that technique, strategy, timing, all these things make surfing feel more effortless. And that's the biggest barrier between starting surfers to people who are doing really well, is that Good surfers make it look effortless, and that's because they're good at these little things that make these chaotic areas they're more in control during this chaos. So it feels incredible. So wave count goes through the roof. And one thing that's really funny about our training is so many people do this training in secret because they want to surf better than their friends. So that's one thing's cool. So if you can get out there and you're normally fighting to get up past the break, resting past the lineup all the time, and then all of a sudden you're sitting inside like a confident surfer, catching tons of waves while everyone else is battling on the same peak, and all of a sudden your wave count goes through the roof, man, incredible feeling. And that's something you can easily get. Simple things, shorten your board with paddle training, improve your duck dive just by knowing a technique, building certain muscles, and improving your timing, and then decreasing your recovery time. Those three things, you can get those insiders, and if you want, get on the outside, get some set waves, and you can be all over the lineup. And really, you see the best surfers, they do it effortlessly, but they're everywhere, catching waves all over the place, while most people sit and wait or just spend all the time resting. So that's what I want for you, and this strategy will 100% work if you build these things that I talked about. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you learned something, and I hope it inspired you to improve, change your strategy so you can be one of those great surfers who's all over the place, catching waves all over every single session. Now, if you really want to shorten the time it takes you to get there, like I said, all of this stuff can be accelerated through progress. The paddle training, the duck dives, the breath training, absolutely everything. And it works super, super fast. If you were to just say, be a weekend warrior surfer, to build all those things, paddle strength, duck dive, during those good swells, those are rare. And if you're only surfing the weekend, it could take you years to get down to a short board. With paddle training, you can get there as quickly as a month. So if you want to shorten your board, improve your duck dive, and surf the best swells and be one of those people who dominate the lineup, you can get there in a fraction of the time with training. So that's what we provide. So if you're interested in that, what you got to do is click the link down below. There's a video there. It explains our entire process. And if you decide you want to be a part of our program, it is by application. Book a call, time to speak with me, someone from my team. We'll describe to you exactly what it looks like, uncover your goals, your struggles, and how our training can help accelerate your progress to get you where you want to be as a surfer. And if you're a good fit, you can make the decision whether you want to join us in the training or not. So that's all I got for this video. 10x your wave count pretty reliably and easily, as long as you have those few things that you need. Once you get those, surfing is a completely different experience. You're less tired, you're on more waves, confidence, self-esteem, everything that matters goes through the roof. My name is Kyle Russ. This is Hydro Mind. Thanks a lot for watching.